Hello, everyone. This is Giulio Coraggio, location head at the Italian office of the law firm DLA Piper. I'm here with Luca Isnardi. Luca Isnardi is Global Data Protection Officer at the business unit dedicated to consumers' healthcare at Sanofi. Sanofi is one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world. Luca, thank you very much for accepting my invite. It's really a pleasure having you here.
Thank you for having me here, Giulio. It's my pleasure, definitely.
Luca, we have been working during your previous experiences together. The first question that I normally address to our guests is to give a bit of a context of their career. And then the last question is going to be what you would recommend to the new DPOs and to the young guys that want to get into this career. But just give us a snapshot of what you've been done so far and how you reached this role.
Sure. Well, I think I should start saying that over the years, there have been several changes of directions that led me now to work in the field of data protection. I could not imagine before, because after graduating in physics, I began my career at Enlightening, which at the time was one of the leading IT service providers in Italy. And I worked on quality systems and IT processes for customers, mostly in the automotive industry. I'm from Turin, so Fiat. Becoming familiar at the time with complex multinational organization. And this experience then became useful when in 2002, the United States passed the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. So I worked with, again, automotive customers and also telecommunication with Vodafone Global to improve their IT processes and implement internal controls to achieve and maintain their SOC certification. At that stage, I started developing my interest for information security. And in 2008, I stopped being a consultant and I joined Fiat and the information security team of the Fiat Group Automobiles. And there it's the moment in which I have my first little experience in privacy, although it was out of my scope of responsibility. And then what else? After a couple of years, I became head of information security at CNH. So that was a big leap. So a global leader in the agriculture and construction equipment, still Fiat Group, if we want to give a, let me say, a location of that. So that experience was really formative, of course, because it allowed me to expand my understanding of business processes and to develop my managerial soft skills. Then when CNH, Iveco, and Fiat Powertrain 2013 merged into CNH Industrial, I became head of ICT security, risk, and compliance. And that's when personal data protection became one of my priorities. Also because at the time, the company didn't have a dedicated privacy function. So the responsibility was somehow distributed between IT security and legal department. But then GDPR. So in 2017, in the aftermath of the approval of the GDPR, CNH Industrial finally established a privacy department within the compliance function. And I was lucky enough to be appointed as the global privacy officer. So I served as head of privacy at CNH Industrial for an incredible 6 years until April 2023, when I joined Sanofi, which, as you said, is one of the top global pharmaceutical companies, with the role of global privacy unit for a business unit, which is the consumer healthcare BU. This business unit, meanwhile, started its own path of autonomy, which was announced officially a few months ago. And so it will become soon an independent company. We don't know yet, but not earlier than the last quarter of this year. So exciting months ahead.
Absolutely. I find very interesting that you have, you were graduated in physics, then you worked in ICT, and now in privacy. And how would you consider, what is the most relevant component of your background that can help you as global data protection officers? Because you have a technical background that then has been enriched by the understanding of legal concept, and all is happening in a period of very fast digital transformation. So what do you think are the biggest challenges for a DPO in a period like the one where we are now?
Well, if I look at the background, I think that both, if I look at what I studied, physics, and also then the job that I took, I think what was really relevant for me was the possibility to see at any step of my career a large array of company process or business process and how they interconnect. And I mean, with the study that I made, let me say, that gave me the ability to make abstract models, no, to try to simplify what is not simple at all. So that is, I think, it was my. It's part of every activity I was done. So I've never been in a business department, but always in a staff department supporting multiple business processes. So anyway, coming to your other question about the challenges. I think that in the pharmaceutical industry, we have both common challenges, common to every industry, and some specific one. I would say that the common challenges are prevailing. So, of course, harmonizing practices across the diverse jurisdiction in different countries, especially for multinational companies like Sanofi, is a challenge that is common to all industries. And we all know how difficult it is to build a unified and robust approach, also because these legal frameworks are constantly evolving. Mm-hmm. And nowadays, we need, of course, constant vigilance over the increasingly sophisticated cyber threat. And again, in the pharma sector, this vigilance is even more critical, as on one hand, the potential impact on society and vulnerable groups of people could be heavy. And on the other hand, because our sector receives a special attention from both cyber criminals and also individuals driven by social concerns or ideological motivation. So that's an attention point. But these are not the only concerns. We have the data democratization and shadow IT, which are also phenomena that we need to understand and govern from a privacy standing point. So, like in any other industry, it's essential to cooperate with our business, try to integrate with other problems as well, such as cybersecurity, data governance. And so this integration is something that is necessary to strengthen our defenses and ensure that the protection becomes a part of the culture, because otherwise a data privacy team cannot guarantee compliance alone and as a sort of report. So from this point of view, another challenge is that we need a continuous expansion of our skill sets. This is a challenge, but I believe one of the great privileges of our job. Now that we can always have to learn, so we cannot stay in our comfort zone. Tomorrow there is AI, not about today there is AI, tomorrow we'll see, I don't know, nanocomputing will affect privacy, I don't know. So yeah. On top of this, of course, and I think that's why you asked me, the pharmaceutical industries faces additional challenges because we deal with highly sensitive health-related data, and so which comes with unique responsibilities. Now, so we must find the right balance between advancing research and maintaining the strict confidentiality which is required by the healthcare sector standards. Now, so if I may add one last point, I don't know if it's a challenge also here, but the pharma industry, of course, plays a key role in providing medication, drugs, and therapies that may save or improve the life of individuals. And when it comes to patients and consumers, to welcome these advances, they must trust our companies. Mm. And so, of course, privacy is not the only element, but in order to build this trust relationship, also privacy is paramount.
Yeah, I find that fascinating when you said on the cyber threat, because maybe people don't really understand that in the for a cyber criminal, the health-related data have a value that is considerably higher than the data of a consumer, and therefore you are a potential victim that is much more valuable for cyber criminal, and obviously this is connected to the last point that you mentioned, the potential reputational damages in terms of loss of trust by your by the patients that are going to use your products, but also by the national healthcare systems that are going to buy your products. makes the potential negative impact for a business like yours massively bigger than it would be for a normal B2C company that is in the consumer's field. So that makes your business even more tricky, because reducing to nil the risk of a cyber attack is almost impossible. So you need to show that you've done what you were meant to do. Luca, you mentioned obviously AI, and we cannot run a podcast without speaking about AI. I know that you have a very peculiar perspective on the fact that AI needs to be tackled. It cannot be just ignored. But how are you tackling AI in a market which needs AI? Comes to my mind, for instance, the potentials of synthetic data that can make clinical trials much faster, or the development of a new pharma that can become, as we've seen during the pandemic, much more efficient. So how is your business reacting to that? Because any opportunity is a risk.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly. So, but well, and as you say, the opportunity and risk, it's a matter of balance, no? And navigating the balance between the use of AI to advance research in healthcare, personalized healthcare, if possible, and ensuring data protection compliance is not easy, of course. These algorithms are inherently complex, and the decision-making process can be opaque. So from this standing point, because the algorithms also may analyze large amounts of data and to gain insight, it's important to understand and ensure transparency on how they operate. So a first element for tackling these is learning. Now, we cannot just speak about buzzwords. Privacy professionals, and in our company, there is a program for us. I mean, we are actively investing our time to learn and to become as much as possible more expert of the technicalities of these tools. That's inevitable. You cannot really understand and handle risks if you don't understand how these things work. And we all know that it's complicated. So depending on the different background, that may be more or less challenging. It's in any case challenging for people doing our job. So patiently working with colleagues, that's an important thing to do. But we need to learn, understand how these things work. Then furthermore, the evolving nature of AI technology is frequently outpacing existing regulatory frameworks. It's not just a matter of the technology evolving, so we always have to learn about the technology, but also we have to learn about frameworks and also consider that the technology may overcome them. So it's an ongoing challenge to keep up with these developments and implement robust data protection measures to meet the expectation of regulation in a way that the dynamic nature of AI allows, to deal with this dynamic nature of AI, because we must be flexible. The approach must be flexible to ensure that the practices not only meet the current standards, but also are adaptable to future possible changes.
Yeah, so basically, the point that you raised is that I cannot say to the employees of my organization, don't use AI, because that would put your business out of market, basically. Because this is unfortunately the response that some companies are addressing, because they say, I don't know how to deal with that. So in the meantime, let's prohibit that. You cannot afford that because of the type of business, but I don't think any business can afford it. So let's put in place some policies and procedures. But I think, but correct me if I'm wrong, if I don't create also an education on how to use AI in a compliant manner, then any policy, any internal rule is going to be meaningless.
Yeah, if I can comment on what you just say, I totally agree with you. I mean, as I said before, in my previous professional life, I was head of security, and I learned easily and quickly that you cannot prohibit things. No, I mean there is really no way to prohibit your user to do something that is helpful to them and help them to make things faster. They will find a way to circumvent you, and it's much better to sit together, understand what they need to do, and try to a good compromise for doing things safely and in compliance. So when it comes to the use of AI, I think that the key words are responsible and ethical use. No? So working on these elements, so creating committees like it's done was done at Sanofi by our chief privacy officer. So creating these kind of committees with the representative of legal, representative of digital, business function, and of course privacy helps us to make all together responsible decision about the use of AI. Is it necessary? Is it going to bring benefits? Is it going to hurt anyone? Let's make a decision balancing these elements. If we have doubts about the ethical use, let's hold on for a moment. If we are fine with that, if we believe that this use is not hurting anyone, not likely to hurt anyone, not likely to hurt the environment, not just the people. So as I said, it's a matter of ethical and responsible use. Let's move on.
Absolutely. And all this is happening in a post-pandemic period. I do believe that we, all of us, heard during the pandemic comments from politicians saying privacy doesn't exist, because they were kind of emphasizing that the health of all the population had to become more relevant than privacy compliance. Now we're fortunately no longer in a situation of emergency, but how do you ensure that the advancements in technology that turn into advancements in potential pharmaceuticals for that cure people, all this is done properly, protecting the privacy rights of individuals without just saying, look, the goal justifies anything I do?
Well, as I said, if that is the point, so how we guarantee it's, of course, in a moment in which every element of the society is still on a learning curve about how to use these tools. In my opinion, the only way to do that is let me say, work in a collaborative way with people with different skill sets and with different minds, but still having this kind of North Star in responsibility in using these data-driven technologies and ethical choices. Of course, there is an impact for us, also on the role that we play on that, clearly.
Yeah, we have to do a lot of advocacy, I believe, during this period of time.
Yeah.
But last question, Luca, you had a brilliant career. I'm sure your future career will be even better. What would you recommend to the young guys that are fascinated by privacy compliance, they want to start this career? Well, you've done a long journey to reach where you are now, but can you give some tips to people that just finish the university, or they are in their 20s and want to reach a goal, a role like yours?
Oh, well, I'm not going probably to share any secret or anything very original, but as we said just before, keep learning. So stay abreast of the evolving data protection regulation, but not only that, the technological advancement and the industry best practice now. So Then, but this is part of this is something that worked for me. My suggestion is cultivate a holistic and multidisciplinary approach. So try to understand, the intricacies of in this case, pharmaceutical industry, from research and development to healthcare delivery, because this perspective will enable you to integrate data protection into the diverse processes and promote a culture of compliance and responsibility, which is the only way that will ensure to your organization a solid level of compliance. It's not something that you can guarantee alone with your team, regardless of how big the team is. Then communicate openly and clearly. This is also very, very important. So learn to do that, because effectively communicating the principle of data protection to diverse stakeholders is crucial. Be objective, honest, clear and direct when you evaluate and explain risks. So do not cry wolf, do not exaggerate, but do not also underestimate. This is important. Speak the business language, not the privacy language. Do not speak legalese. And act as a business partner. So data protection is a collaborative effort. We say that, I don't know, countless number of times in these 20 minutes. So build strong relationship with your business unit, with IT, with legal, to ensure that you all go in the same direction and that you have a unique approach to the business challenges, which also embeds privacy. But privacy is not the objective; it's one of the many things that we have to address. And if I allow me one more, but I feel probably the more important, stay ethical. So recognize the ethical dimension of data protection. So don't forget, have clear what are your values, remain committed to your principles, and always be clear about the boundaries between what is an acceptable and unacceptable risk.
Yeah, I really love the concept of a collaboration, because sometimes the data protection officer and in general privacy professionals are seen as blockers, while we need to find solutions, because obviously the business needs to do business. A balance can be found, and this is part of our job.
If you act as someone blocking the activities, you will just cut yourself out of the conversation. So
they will try to bypass you, which is even more dangerous for the business.
Not right. They will succeed in bypassing you.
Luca, this chat has been fascinating. I'm sure there will be other opportunities to discuss. I thank you for your time, and I wish you all the best.